presentation on the Stockton Channel Viaduct project. We have our tech all lined up. Are we ready?
We are ready. All right, good afternoon. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you all. I do appreciate the opportunity to present a little bit of an update on the project, the Stockton Channel Viaduct replacement project today, and congratulations to the community for the hawk signal. I did drive by it yesterday before it was turned on, but congratulations that it's been turned on. I think it's definitely a fantastic win for the community. Absolutely. And my name is Dina LaCall. I am the project manager from the District 10 California Department of Transportation. And I do have a few folks also that are going to be presenting with me today. Today the purpose of the project is to certainly provide the city and the stakeholders an update on the project and to further build relationships with the city and the stakeholders, understand some of the community concerns, certainly maybe even council concerns as well, certainly answer whatever questions you may very well have and certainly get some feedback on the project. And provide details on opportunities where we can partner together on this particular project. So today I'm going to go a little bit through the project schedule, give you a little bit of a status on where the project is at, explain some of the potential road closures. They're going to be not just on the highway itself, but certainly some local impacts as well as detours. Some considerations for Morelli Park, which the city oftentimes leases from the state. And look at opportunities again for partnerships, and in the end certainly see if there's any questions that the community may have. So again, I will be presenting. I'm the project manager over here. With me is Jared Craigmore, who's the project engineer, as well as Greg Hewitt, who's the pre-construction manager. So we do have a contractor that is assisting us through the design process. They have not been awarded the construction contract yet. All right. So a little bit about the project purpose and need. So this bridge, or this set of bridges, was built back in the 1970s. And it spans the Stockton Channel. And we're hoping that the replacement of these bridges will ensure long-term serviceability and upgrade the bridges basically to accommodate permitted loading on the bridges. Right now it accommodates a certain level of permitted loads. We're hoping when we bring it up to improve its the standards on it, it can carry higher permitted loads. The project benefits is to meet all current design standards. It certainly was built to 1970s standards, so certainly that's one of the things that we'd like to update is the current design standards, certainly current safety standards, and hoping to minimize traffic disruptions and maintenance. We're hoping to also improve the configuration of the Pershing ramp to improve operation of it. We're also hoping to improve operational, the weaving that happens between State Route 4 and I-5. And this is going to happen by extending the merge distance a little bit along that often on and off ramps. We're going to also put in some wider shoulders. Right now the shoulders are a little bit narrow. Oftentimes we do have to shut down the lane just to perform some inspections even, not just maintenance. There's likely going to be a reduction in noise because of the type of bridge that we're going to be constructing. And lastly, as noted earlier, we're going to improve the bridge rating by reducing the amount of large permitted roads that sometimes have to reroute to other state highways or sometimes even local roads. Yes? Okay, so what you see before you is the existing bridge footprint right now. We're going to be shifting the bridge a little bit, about 50 feet in a south-westerly direction. So the green outline is basically where the bridge is going to be shifting. The current schedule of the project, we are in the pre-construction portion of the project, meaning we're in the design, and we're in the acquisition of environmental permits process right now, as well as securing some of the right-of-way that's needed for this particular project. So we're going to be working on the design in the next year and a half, and the northbound will be complete probably in the first half of, or the second half of 2028, truthfully. We are going to be we also did get the biological opinion for this particular project already. And we are going to be looking to get our CEQA and NEPA addendum completed by next month. The environmental permits process, I think the applications are starting, and hopefully we are going to be receiving all of them by next fall. And the right-of-way acquisition has actually already started several months ago. The construction schedule, we're going to start with not a construction per se, but it's really a pre-construction task that we have to do. It's a geotechnical investigation that we have to perform. It's a test pile program, and we're going to try to see if we can reduce the length of some of these test piles, and I will talk a little bit more of that. And then after that, we're going to start with the Buena Vista overpass. This is going to be the first portion where we are going to help widen that particular overpass to help with the transition of traffic. Afterwards, we're going to start on the southbound bridge first. We're going to work on the outer portion of the southbound bridge. Afterwards, so we're going to demolish first and construct. And then afterwards, we'll come in and work on the inside portion of the southbound bridge. And finally, we will shift all traffic onto the newly constructed southbound bridge and demolish and reconstruct the northbound bridge. The Pershing ramp will be the last portion of the northbound bridge as we move forward. This is the test shaft program that we talked about. This is really something that we have to do to help optimize our design. The piles right now, the shafts are going to be, per design right now, they're about 240 feet long. We're hoping to make them a little bit shorter and hopefully save a little bit of money. So we're going to be doing some tests in a couple of locations. This is going to utilize an oscillation method. So it's a very big hole, about 12.5 feet in diameter. And we're going to oscillate this, so it's not going to be a pounding, if you will, but it's very much an oscillation method of construction. As noted, I think when we reduce the length of the piles, we're going to reduce cost, we're going to reduce a lot of risks. If there's any constructability issues, we capture them early before we're actually full on in construction. There's going to be multiple locations for this. The test pile program, probably about 4 months in duration. We will probably be having about 3 locations for this, and I'm hoping if I can point them to you. So this is one of the locations over here in Morelli Park. This is one of the other locations over here in Morelli Park. And we will likely be sort of occupying a portion of Morelli Park while we're performing this particular test. Likely, we're targeting the summer of 2026 to be performing this. So some of the parking might be limited. The boat launch also might be limited during that period. The other location is over here. If you recognize this particular area, this is the Pershing off-ramp right now. This is the on-ramp over here to I-5, and this is sort of the little corner area between this highway and the ramp, where we're looking to perform that other test file. So there's going to be a total of 3 locations. And all of those are going to fall within Caltrans right away. Okay, Buena Vista. This is one of the stage A. It's not quite stage 1, but it's stage A, and this is intended to help with the shifting of the lanes. We're going to be widening this particular section over here. And we're going to be having basically 3 through lanes on the southbound bridge, before the northbound will remain as is in this particular scenario. And this is intended to be, late fall of 2027 into spring of 2028. So this is not intended to be a long segment. After that, we're going to be going to stage 1. This is the outer side of the southbound bridge, where we will be demolishing the outside portion of the bridge, and there's only going to be 3 through lanes on the bridge. The northbound bridge will be not impacted. And you'll see over here, this is the new bridge construction. I'm just going to call it the tan color. The tan color is sort of where the new bridge construction is going to be. Stage 2, we shift the traffic onto the newly constructed, what was tan, gets to now be yellow. So the southbound traffic will be on this portion. And then we will come in and demolish the inside portion of the bridge, right, the red portion over here, and construct the tan color. So this is going to be stage 2 for the southbound bridge. Again, northbound will not be impacted. It will continue as is. Okay, and this is stage 3. So once the newly constructed southbound bridge is constructed, and as noted, it's going to be a little bit wider because we do have wider shoulders, etc. It will accommodate 3 through lanes on both sides. And what you're seeing is the 4th one is really sort of an oxlet. That's going to exit. And so we basically demolish the northbound and reconstruct it in one shot. This is a short video to describe what I just sort of said. I hope, we're hoping visually it might help everybody sort of understand how this is going to work. And I hope this is going to start with the test pile program first and show you the locations of those. All right, so those are the areas in Morelli Park over here, and you sort of see where the boat launches are. And then over here, this is the area off of Pershing and near the on-ramp. All right, this is the Buena Vista segment over here that is going to, we're going to call it stage A, if you will. This is the widening of Buena Vista. And then over onto the southbound bridge, so you will see stage 1. We take out, we demolish the southbound half bridge and reconstruct it. Stage 2, we move the traffic onto it and take out the inside portion of the bridge and reconstruct that. And then switch the traffic both onto the same bridge and reconstruct the northbound bridge. And what you will see at the very end there is a loop ramp showing what the Pershing reconfiguration will look like at the end. Okay. One more item is the termini of the Pershing off-ramp is going to be, after some study, we concluded that a roundabout is the best way to actually treat that termini. It's the best thing in terms of safety, in terms of operation of that particular area. It slows people down significantly. And so that local operation continues.
Do you mind taking a question right now?
I'm sure.
Sorry, quick question. So, in terms of timeline, this
Yes.
Pershing roundabout update, where are we with in terms of years?
So this is the very last piece of that is going to be constructed. We have to start with shifting the southbound bridge first out of the way, and then constructing the northbound bridge. And when we shift the northbound bridge, we'll create enough space for the hook ramp that will come off of Pershing, and the termini will be the roundabout. It is the very last piece of the project.
And I asked that question because I guess I asked this earlier to the chair is, why wouldn't north and south be inverted? I mean, I would think that the northbound is more of a priority.
We
Why-
can't.
why
We
not?
can't. We have
For the
to.
record, why not?
I understand. We have to create the space in order to create the hook ramp, in order to add the roundabout. No, right now, this space does not exist. It is really, really tight between the on-ramp, so we have to shift it a little bit, put the hook ramp in, and put the roundabout. But we have to shift both bridges first. That is the staging that we actually determined. There is no way to start with the northbound bridge, unfortunately. We have to move the southbound bridge out of the way. Yeah. And it will have to do certainly partially with the, even just the curve coming off of the northbound, and the super elevation that we have to hook it up from the land on. These bridges are actually going to be slightly elevated from their current place right now. They'll be about 15 feet or so higher than their current elevation. So we have to shift them a little bit out of the way, grade it. Otherwise, it's a very steep down curve, and we have standards for when you're creating a ramp, if you will. If it's too steep, cars will take it a little too hard.
No, I appreciate that, and I ask because as we're going through the presentation, in case anyone in the audience or anyone watching is at, and maybe thinking the same thing I am,
Yeah,
we are going along, but I know we will have time for public comment.
Absolutely.
So-
Yeah, when the presentation's done, the public will have a chance.
absolutely. And we're interested in hearing some of those.
If you want to do that, there are blue cards at the back, so just pull
Absolutely.
out the blue card and give it to the clerk.
Absolutely. Okay, so a little bit more about what the Pershing roundabout sort of things look like. This is a little bit of a simulation, if you will. It's not exact, but it's the best that we can do at the time. Basically showing the traffic moving east and west through the roundabout, and certainly being able to traverse. So, I don't know if it helps. So over here, you can sort of see the northbound, and the planned southbound hook are really close to each other. We're going to be eliminating the current off-ramp that exists right now. That's one of the things that we're planning on doing. But we have to create, by shifting the northbound bridge a little bit more southwest, if you will, you create a little bit more space here so that the ramp and the super elevation of the ramp is appropriate. Otherwise, it becomes way too steep, and cars end up sort of, there's a little bit more centrifugal force that comes in. So we're trying to create it so it's a smooth transition.
And all this isn't going to be done until, what, fall of 35?
Yeah, it will be the last portion of the project.
Any chance we can do it a little quicker?
You know what? We are constantly looking at our schedule and trying to find efficiencies in it. And so whenever we're able to, put two tasks together instead of making them in series, making them some of them in parallel so that we can create some efficiency in the schedule, we are. So we're looking at some efficiencies already.
I'm excited for the roundabout. I don't want to wait till I'm 67.
I'm not even gonna say 57.
But I am 67, it's totally fine. Okay, I'm going to hand it over to Greg to talk a little bit about local road improvements. Very much.
Hey, good afternoon, gentlemen. Thanks for having us. My name is Greg Nix. I'm with Kiewit Construction. We are the pre-construction contractor working with Caltrans right now through the process. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about what it will look like as we're doing construction. It's kind of, you'll have to envision some things because obviously we're not building anything right now. But Dina talked about various strategic staging of the work that we're going to be doing. And Jerry's going to talk to you about some of the impacts of our work on the local community. So I'm going to just kind of try to explain to you how the work happens. So the first thing we have to do with every stage is demolish the existing bridge. And so this is what it looks like. So here's some pictures of demolition from other projects that we've done. And it's messy. It's all overhead work. Everything's happening up above you. So it's not safe. It doesn't make sense for traffic to be moving underneath billboard, right? And so there's always going to be some sort of an impact when we're doing demolition of overhead work. And so at those points in time, we're going to take traffic and detour away from work. The first part of it was, those first pictures were some concrete demolition. This is structural steel demolition, right? So the way we would approach the work is we're going to go pick these pieces of the bridge, pick the bridge down in the biggest pieces possible, set them down to the ground, cut them up into smaller pieces and get rid of it, right? So what do you do with these big pieces? You pick them off the bridge and you set them down on the ground, which sometimes it's going to be right on the road that we're working on. So that's why we're going to impact some of this work. After you demolish the bridge, the next thing you do is you start construction of the new bridge. And the first part of the construction is the foundations. And Dina talked to you about the foundations on these jobs are 12.5-foot diameter, 240-foot deep drill shafts. So everything is big. The equipment is big that goes along with it. Takes up a lot of space. And so, some of the foundations are right near existing roads. Some of them are at medians of the roads. And so we need space to do that work. So again, when some of this work is going to go on, we'll have to detour traffic around some of this work away from, obviously, so we need space and to keep the traffic and pedestrians safe and away from our work. Once we build the foundations and the substructure, so now everything up above you has to be built. The entire bridge is all constructed of cast-in-place concrete. So that means we bring concrete in on trucks, we pump it into place, it has to cure, we stress it with post-tensioning, and then obviously it's done. But we have to support that concrete somehow, right? So we support that concrete with false work. False work, again, takes up a lot of space. These are some pictures of several other jobs where we've built false work to support the concrete up above us, right? In some cases, we can, the picture up in the top left there, we can build, I'll call it a tunnel for local roads to go through underneath our work. And in some cases, it just doesn't work or it doesn't make sense. And so we'll build false work across the roads and detour the traffic around it temporarily. Dina talked about the staging. So the staging, the job will be built in 3 stages. So that means we're going to demo and build a bridge, demo and build a bridge, and demo and build a bridge. So it happens, the process happens 3 times. So there's always going to be some sort of an impact, right? So I think Jerry's going to talk to you about sometimes when we have prolonged closures and sometimes when we have intermittent closures with detours. But that's why the process is going to be that way, is because it's not just going to, it's not, hey, we're going to come in and hit the demo real hard and then go away. We're going to hit the demo real hard and we got to build a bridge. Then we got to do it again 2 more times. This is Weber. Same thing on Pershing and Fremont. And when we're on Pershing and Fremont, you got 2 roads that are right there being impacted similarly. And we're going to try our hardest. And we've got some detour plans of where we don't impact both Fremont and Pershing at the same time. We'll hopefully be able to work it out where we can impact one and detour traffic around, and then we'll impact the other, and vice versa. Jerry, I think the next few slides are yours, but Jerry's going to talk about, now that you understand exactly what we're going to be doing and how we stage the traffic, what happens with the traffic. So I'll turn it over to Jerry.
Hello everybody, my name is Jerry Brigmore and I am the project engineer for the roadway portion of this project. It's predominantly a structure project, of course, and so there's a structures design that are going to do most of the work, but the roadway part of it, the team that I work with is working on that. So let me make sure I know how to work this thing. Okay, so Greg talked about and showed pictures of false work, and if you, is this all the pointer?
I was using mine.
Oh, you got the pointer.
Sure.
Okay, you can.
Of course, yeah.
So yeah, there's basically a forest of false work piers and structure that's going to be on Fremont Street, Pershing also, but there's going to be constant construction vehicles and equipment going back and forth across Fremont Street. And while it would be possible to snake traffic through there when we aren't doing something really dangerous overhead, there will be some times when there's not really dangerous things going on overhead. But even then, to be able to allow traffic through there would really add a lot to the project schedule. And, you know, I don't want to be 66 when the roundabout is completed either. So add to the schedule, add to the cost, which is borne by everyone here. And so for Fremont Street, the design team really felt like it made the most sense, instead of having Fremont Street open to one lane of traffic and then closed for a while, and then open for a while, and then closed for a while, people trying to figure out when is it open, when it's closed. It just made more sense all the way around to have it closed for the duration of the project and get around it on Orange Street, Oak Street, and Park Street to Pershing Avenue. You can see we'd have the east half of Pershing Avenue closed, and then the west half, which I'm sorry, north, if you see in the upper right corner, north is pointing down on this map, and that has to do with the way Caltrans orients its plans. It's confusing, but so the west side of Pershing Avenue on the right would be open most of the time, but also would have to be intermittently closed because we're also doing some of that dangerous work over Pershing Avenue. But we would, we have planned to not only to keep it open, but also to guarantee access to and from the Golden Bear property on the south, the Arco AMPM, and I believe the veterinary clinic on the north side. And so that was kind of an important thing for us, but also to protect the workers that are going to be working in those areas. So, okay, I think next slide. No, that's me. You're the pointer on that. Okay, and so Greg already mentioned the Buena Vista work, and again, that is so we can close the gap between those two bridges so that traffic shifting can, when we shift traffic, it needs to go where there's a gap right now. So we're going to, first order work is to close that. And then this is about what it'll look like. There will be false work where Buena Vista passes under the freeway. So that will be closed off for the duration of that work, which about 8 months is what we're estimating right now. But there are, you know, nearby roads that we can detour on, and we'll show those in a couple of slides. Okay, so here we'll talk about the local road detours. Obviously, there's no way to avoid all impacts to the local roads and the local users, but we do try our best to minimize those impacts. And we also, our public information office informs the public of when these closures are going to happen. And while we're designing them, you know, we've had pretty extensive communication with the city traffic engineering division. And so, except where I mentioned otherwise, traffic engineer and his staff have reviewed these, have reviewed the traffic numbers for modeling the impacts, and they concur with what we're proposing here. I should mention that where we talked about that full closure of Fremont Avenue for the duration of the project, all of this is happening now, so we just kind of figured that out. So I haven't heard back from Dodgy Gadad on that closure. I think for the practical aspects of it, I think I feel like, well, I don't speculate that it'd be in favor of it, but I did want to mention that we haven't heard back on that yet, so that's still in progress, but I think we added that to the slide, so I'll go ahead and move on. Okay, so here is the Buena Vista closure that we've been talking about, and as you can see, while that's happening, either on Fremont Street, Acacia Flora, Monte Diablo, traffic can detour either to Carlton Avenue or Pershing Avenue to cross under I-5. And again, we're looking 6 to 8 months for this stage 8. Yeah, I do want to mention too, and we're going to talk about this some more in a little bit. We're going to talk more about the truck traffic, but we do want to mention through all of these that we are not going to be routing big trucks on the city streets, and they're not going to be allowed to go on any streets that they're not already permitted to go. But we'll hit that a little bit. Okay, so stage 1, one of the early things that will happen is that, north is up now, so. The connector from southbound I-5 to westbound State Route 4 will have to be closed for stage 1, and so traffic wanting to go either to the Bay Area via State Route 4 or to the Port of Stockton West Complex. Instead, we'll go down to Charterway and either stay on Charter to the Bay Area or go north on Tilly Lewis Drive to get over to the Port of Stockton West Complex. And that's something that we worked out with City Traffic Department too. We're going to keep them off of Navy Drive. It's busy and kind of congested, but Charterway will be the detour. Okay, so for in stage 1, the off-ramp from southbound I-5 to Fremont Street will be closed, and the on-ramp to southbound I-5 from Fremont Street will be closed during stages 1 and 2. You can see over on Fremont Street where we have that closure of Fremont and where we have the closure of the east side of Pershing. And so that kind of dashed area, the red and blue, part of the time that will be closed, and then the rest of the time it'll be open and be part of the detour for Fremont Street traffic. When the off-ramp to Fremont is closed, then traffic will be detoured to the off-ramp to Monte Diablo Avenue. And when the on-ramp is closed, the detour will be the on-ramp from Monte Diablo Avenue. So the detour isn't too far. By this time, Buena Vista will be open, so even though we don't show it as a detour, it will be open. Okay, here's Weber Avenue, and as Greg said, that during stages 1 through 3, it will be closed and open intermittently, So we'll have a very presidential detour with Washington and Garfield and South Lincoln Street, detour to Church Street. Okay, and then now we have some northbound ramps. The northbound from Pershing Avenue to northbound I-5, that will be closed during stage 3. There won't be access to it because that's when we're replacing the northbound half of the bridge. The off-ramp from northbound I-5 to Pershing Avenue is going to be taken out and replaced with the loop ramp we were talking about before, which means we're not going to be shooting freeway traffic onto Pershing Avenue anymore. We'll be slowing them down with the roundabout. And there's also going to be some shelter for the homes on the east side of Pershing, just north of Flora, right now that they've got that traffic going right in front of their houses. After this, they won't have that. They're going to have kind of sheltered ways to get onto Pershing without having cars right in front of their homes. I'm a little excited about that. Okay, so those are both during stage 3. And we mentioned the work that's going to be done on Pershing Avenue. Again, that's all during stage 3. Part of the reason that the work on the local streets, Weber, Fremont, and Pershing, happens toward the end too, is that there's going to be so much construction activity crossing those streets that it doesn't make sense to improve them and redo them before we have all that heavy equipment on. So when the construction of the bridge is done, then we will come back through and we will repave, replace curb or sidewalk on those portions of local streets under the bridge. Pershing Avenue, we've got the roundabout we talked about. That's during, part of stage 3. There's a possibility that we could have it open to traffic on one side or the other, like build the east half, build the west half. Not quite sure if we're going to be able to do that yet. Because the roundabout is towards the end of the project, it hasn't been the highest priority in terms of design yet. So the design of that hasn't progressed as far as some of the other parts of the project. Okay, then finally, there are connector ramps that'll have work done. The connector ramp from southbound I-5 to eastbound State Route 4 will be closed during stage 1. The ramp from westbound State Route 4 to I-5 will be closed intermittently part of the time. The ramp from eastbound State Route 4 to northbound I-5 will be closed for all of stage 3. And then for all of those closures, the detour is going to be basically to have southbound traffic go to Charterway and then get back on northbound at Charterway. Okay, we did talk about trucks some before. And so here's the city's truck route map. And you can see that on Fremont Street and I think Monte Diablo and Pershing Avenue are city truck routes. But that means that the largest trucks, we call STAA trucks, the 18-wheeler semis with the 53-foot trailers, those are not now allowed on city streets. If one of them does go onto a city street, they're breaking the law, but we don't have a lot of recourse to stopping them. There's not always a CHP there on the freeway that can follow them down. So that's kind of enforcement of that involves the city police department also. But so what you see here, what's currently allowed, doesn't change during construction. Now, there are a couple of overhead signs that span the entire freeway that are going to have to be replaced, and there's a couple of existing ones that are going to have to be demolished. That can't be done safely while there's traffic on the freeway, so we are going to have a short-term, like 4 to 8 hour closure for each of those, in which the southbound freeway will be shut down. During that time, we will detour traffic starting several miles to the north, so they'll have ample time to exit the freeway before they get to, or up to and including Monte Diablo. But trucks will be forced to exit up at Avenue 12, which is already a designated truck route, and they'll have to go to 99 if they're trying to get through here. Once again, we are not, there's nothing about our project and our traffic control that's going to allow more truck access to local neighborhoods than we have now.
Full highway closures or not?
Yes, yeah, those full closures, I think there will be 2 of them, but they're going to be nighttime, weekend, point of lowest traffic, and we're looking at 4 to 8 hours for each, hoping for. I've already taken too much time. Here's a summary of all of the things we've already talked about. So I'm not going to go through these one by one, but it does kind of give the details of these impacts in a table. And this presentation we have is, available to the public. So, you can review this, ask questions you want, direct questions to Caltrans. And I think Raleigh Park is.
I can talk about that quick. Just, there's a few other things we just wanted to touch on. One of them is Morelli Park. Obviously, Dina talked about Morelli is going to be closed for portions of time starting next year, and then once the project starts in earnest, it'll be closed full time. But one of the changes we want to make to Morelli Park is to demolish this existing bulkhead that's there. It's old, deteriorated. It predates the bridge. We're not sure even how it was constructed, so there's some risk there when we go to do construction of what's going to happen to that. And the new bridge, some of the foundations of the new bridge are right there. Going through that foundation or going through that bulkhead wall, so that's one thing that we do want to take care of and remove, and then replace with a embankment wall. The other thing we just wanted to bring up to the council, and don't expect an answer here, but there's this big vacant lot over here to the just outside of Mormon Slough, and that would be a fantastic construction staging area for us. And we understand that there's some potential development opportunities there that are probably happening, but wanted to just plant the seed that, hey, if there's some of those development ideas fall through, that we'd be willing to occupy that space for you for a few years. And, we could use it as a construction staging yard, and we could also use it for employee parking, right? That'd be a perfect place for having our employees park. They could walk across the bridge, across Mormon Slough, get to the job site. Their vehicles can be safe and fenced in and secure while they're open. Okay.
I can't make any promises.
No doubt. Yeah, just kind of wanted to put it out there on your radar.
Sir, can you put that last picture up with the picture there? That one, yeah. What is that little nub right there in the end? Is that for a future expansion or widening? On the right-hand
What
side
are you
there?
talking about here?
Yeah.
Off-ramp.
Yeah, there had been thought at one.
I'm sorry, if you could go to the microphone, thank you.
No worries, no worries. There had been thought at one point in time if we would put sort of a flyover onto from Highway 4 and come in and cross over here. We're not constructing it right now, but we did not want to preclude the possibility of being able to have that get constructed in the future. So we
Wouldn't the
thought,
cost of building it right now be about a fifth or so of the tenth or so of building it in the future? I mean, while you're
oh yeah, that's
and all these closures, I mean, why don't you just build it?
there's a variety of reasons. The project as is currently, it's really not fully funded. So we're trying to make sure that the bridge itself at least gets funded. This was, if you will, more of a scope creep idea that kind of came in to the project. Somebody kind of had the idea and said, we should do that. It was very much difficult to add that because, hey, if you can't fund this, how do you expect to build a full-on flyover? But we didn't want to preclude the possibility of it coming in the future. So if there's ever funding that comes in, that flyover could potentially be constructed later on. I'm gonna move forward over here. So I wanted to talk a little bit about some of the local involvement and benefits from the project. I think one of the things that the city will definitely be able to experience as this project moves forward is to create a lot of skilled job opportunities. And I think it will likely generate a significant amount of revenue for the city through material purchases. All these folks that are going to be coming in, they're likely going to be lodging, having meals, etc. just by the employees themselves. We do believe that some of the improvements that are being proposed, and by the way, some of the improvements that we were talking about, including the Pershing off-ramp, were very much one of some of the ideas that came up from discussion with city staff. They really were fantastic in coordinating with us and helping us move the project forward. They were not part of the project originally. But I think those are going to certainly improve project safety as we reconstruct the off-ramp and certainly the roundabout later on. We think there's probably going to be some opportunities for some subcontractors and suppliers to be able to provide some services and materials for the project. So I think this is going to be an overall significant economic improvement for the city. There's a whole lot of construction subcontract opportunities that are also going to be available. This is a small list of them in various areas, including just the demolition, sometimes even just being able to truck stuff back and forth on the project. Some of the truckers are going to be able to get some improvement. And fencing, etc., whatever it is that you can imagine, I definitely see some significant opportunities for subcontractors to be able to come in and benefit. Some of them, I'm sure, whoever we give the construction contract to will definitely be looking for some local contractors and suppliers. A little bit of folks' points of contact. We have our PIO, Skip Alum, who's always available to answer questions about the project. If he doesn't know a particular specific response, he will definitely come to me and some of the folks on the project, including Jerry and even Greg. So these are points of contact from Caltrans and certainly from Hewitt. I did want to mention, and I really did want to thank the local city of Stockton community members did come together and assist Caltrans as part of an aesthetic advisory committee.
I recognize some people in that picture.
Yes, well, that's point taken. Yes, I think there may be some people that are missing too, but from the picture, but they may very well be in this room. But they really did help us solicit, they helped us solicit some of the recommendations. We solicited some of their recommendations. We developed some mock-ups and they certainly helped steer the project team into the right direction. We held our first meeting last year. They did recommend some good options. The community at large actually participated in voting on the aesthetic treatments that are going to be taking place. And we will be announcing shortly the results of this particular survey after we announce it to the aesthetic committee first and make sure that we get their approval moving forward. Yeah, so these were some of the pictures from where the aesthetic committee was sort of looking at some of the treatments, the aesthetic treatments that we were going to be looking at, particularly some of the retaining walls that we have throughout the project. And I think that just sort of leads us over here to a couple of discussion points that we wanted to see if there's any questions or input on them. You know, certainly we brought up the construction issues that are definitely going to be a reality, including noise and dust. Certainly the Morelli Park restoration at the end of the project is going to be one that we'd like to actually partner with the community on as well. You saw some of the other, consideration for if maybe we can ask for some of the parcels that look like they're city parcels near the project to sort of assist the project as we move forward. Certainly some of the closures that we're potentially looking to get a little bit of feedback on. There's certainly, you will likely see some intermittent closures, flaggers, etc. As starting as early as next year as the pilot test program does move forward. We do understand that there's definitely going to be impacts to emergency responders, and we've been in contact with them as well to to give them an update on the project, and we're continuing to do so if and when things change as we move forward. And certainly, potentially, we're going to be coming to the city to discuss the revised freeway agreement with the elimination of the current Pershing off-ramp and the reconstruction of the hook ramp. The freeway agreement will have to be updated to basically document that change. And that is it. And I wanted to see if there was absolutely, yes, go ahead.
I have a couple.
At this point, what we're going to do is I'll give you guys a chance for public comment. So we don't generally do back and forth with the audience. And
Sure,
representatives.
absolutely.
But I would like you to have, lay out your questions in your comment, and then if you can address those.
And I will make this offer. If there are some, I see some blue pieces of paper. If you want to document your question and give me some means of contacting you back, more than happy to. So you can still get your answer.
Okay, public comment.
Miguel Guillen?
Wonderful presentation. I do, being part of that aesthetics committee, it was great to be part of that and share, there was an ag, nature, marine theme that the public was able to vote on. We worked with, we have like a database of email blasts that we send out to everyone in the neighborhood. We have over 200 emails. We did a social media blast. We shared it with our council member. And so we did all the work to get that out, and it's great. That was a wonderful time. I do see some concerns, though. I'd love to see Public Works, City of Stockton, work with the state on making sure that our local roadways and infrastructures around this project are to be fixed. A lot of Midtown neighborhoods are suffering with cracked roads as it is, a lot of potholes. And while these potholes, they're patched up quickly with the team the City of Stockton has, it's not enough. These roads need to be resurfaced. These local roads, I'm talking about Flora Street, Poplar, Acacia, Mont Diablo. It's pretty bad, and with this added movement of traffic, it's not going to look good. So I'm hoping that the City of Stockton works closely with that and making sure that we can get that. I don't know if that's going to be state funding. Can state help the City of Stockton in any way? I'm hoping for something like that, so this is for the record. And I am here representing the Flora Street neighborhood. So what does that look like? Are we going to, can we close off Flora Street anytime soon? Our neighbors have been, we're all fed up of the high-speed traffic, the semis. I spoke with one who crashed into a cable line, a semi-trucker. He didn't care. He says, I'm going to still use Flora Street, even though the sign's posted, and there's two of them. We don't have one, we have two. He goes, I don't care. I still got to go through here. So this is the stuff we deal with on Flora Street.
Thank you.
Dan Richardson?
Thank you. I too work on the aesthetics committee with Miguel, Julie DiVincenzi, Julie Dunning, and a number of people. Kachi was there. We worked really hard to come up with some really nice designs that went out to the public. And I want to thank everybody who was on the committee with me and worked through that with Hilda and Dina and a number of other people at Caltrans. Big concern. This has come to mind. I've mentioned this at the Hagen Museum presentations. I've mentioned this to city staff. And frankly, we don't get much of a response from city staff. We opened the hot light today, and Mario was there, the mayor was there, handful of city employees to turn the light on. That was it. It was kind of a disappointment that some of the people who were heavily invested in that, like Dodgy and a number of other people who didn't come out. I understand everybody's busy, it happens, but thankfully it's open. Big concern that came to my attention through all these meetings we've been going through for a number of years now are trucks. That truck route on Pershing is bad now. We start diverting trucks and running them down Mount Diablo as a detour, it's going to be a nightmare. I feel for the people who live on Mount Diablo and those trucks. That's a narrower street than Pershing, and Pershing's bad. In the middle of the night, I have tanker trucks rolling past my house at 45 miles an hour, rumbling down the street at 80,000 pounds, shaking my doors and windows and waking me up at 2 a.m. trucks need to be really studied on this diversion and how we're going to detour them around all this construction. Putting them through neighborhoods is going to be a nightmare. And they run 24/7 on I-5. It's not like they run conveniently banker's hours through the neighborhood. You know, when they get off, and I'm telling you right now, they do not care about their load limitations and size limitations. 53 footers. I have multiple pictures. You guys know I send pictures to the council all the time.
Thank you, Dan.
I have multiple, if you want to see them, of 53 footers coming.
No, you do.
Concha Evanov.
Oh, hi, yeah. Thank you, Dan. You pretty much said it all. I noticed, thanks to Adina, awesome job. My quote here is truck traffic to use only city designated truck routes. That was kind of funny. I'd love Caltrans to talk more about this. Big rigs pretty much go wherever they want to go. Just the other evening, November 17th, I'm walking down Vine Street to Pershing, an enormous gas truck, enormous, barreling down South Pershing to go back to the freeway after depositing its thousands of gallons of gas. I'm assuming probably at March Lane maybe, and Pershing, there's a new gas station there. It's the wild, wild west on Pershing with the trucks. They do and go anywhere they want to go. How do we get our city, how do we ask Caltrans to work with the city to make sure these big rigs don't continue to do what they're doing? It's dangerous as hell out there. We need the city to control the big rig traffic. They go and do whatever they want when they want to do it. Love to see the police involved.
Thank you.
Don Cooley.
Director Bauer, before you start my clock, could you, I have two comments. One as just a public citizen on this thing, but another on one of the items on behalf of the Reclamation District that I'm the president of, 1614. So I was wondering if I could make two-minute comments.
No, I'll just give you 2 minutes.
Okay. Oh wait, none of us, don't start yet, I'm sorry. The roundabout, there are good ideas in certain situations, like out on Highway 12, it's a good idea. But whenever you have pedestrians crossing a roundabout, it gets to be dangerous because someone coming out of the roundabout, pedestrians, they got to stop, guy stops behind them, and then all of a sudden you have someone stopping in the middle of a roundabout. So you got to look at that, possibly making a bridge or a tunnel underneath of it to do that. The one that I want to speak on behalf of the 1614 is that not only are there city projects that are affected by this, there's a project that the San Joaquin Area Flood Control Agency, a Joint Powers Association, they have a $2 billion levee project, and they have a deal with Stockton East. They're going to buy all their dirt from Stockton East plant and push every truck through this intersection here. It's already started on Marsh Lane. You can see it. They're only doing the preliminary work this year, and everybody sees the trucks hammering down Marsh Lane. So I want to say they have 1 million truckloads of dirt to come from Stockton East Water District to one job is on my district, bunch of jobs on Brookside, Shima Track, all this, that. So you got to really look at that because I told them they shouldn't have used the trucks because of all the trucks, because all the jobs they should have had Dutra bring it in by barge. I used to work for Dutra, as a matter of fact, and by the way, this was a great presentation. I love this kind of stuff. But I used to work for Dutra, and we drove the test piles for the Bay Bridge. They were a little longer than these ones. They were 10-foot diameter, 3 inches thick, and 300 feet long. So that was a big project. So, and a suggestion for Kiewit is when you take those big metal things down, if you put it on a barge, you can take it to Schnitzer Steel in one piece. That's what I did with the Beacon Island Bridge. Thank you for your time, and thanks again for serving.
Thank you.
Doug Rushwayne.
Hello, good afternoon. I wanted to I didn't hear any discussion today about the demolition, and it was said that it was going to be dirty and messy and things like that. I didn't hear anything about how Caltrans plans to mitigate that, the dust, debris, especially for properties that are located under where the demolition is going to be taking place and around it. And I have to believe that it's just going to be raining down with dust and debris on all those buildings and properties and businesses, and it would be naive to think that there isn't going to be any disruption to all those businesses and the buildings and the maintenance of those buildings. And I heard that there was some right-of-way acquisitions being acquired, but in terms of properties that aren't being acquired, what about the damage that all these businesses and property owners are going to sustain and have to pay out of their pocket to remedy these things? I don't know if there's an inverse condemnation claim that all these businesses need to raise. I'd like to hear more about it. I think my comments are going to take more than 2 minutes to discuss. I hope somebody contacts me about this because I'd like to talk about it further. I also didn't understand where the closure is going to take place along Fremont Street. I understand it's going to be closed, but I didn't understand exactly where. And is there going to be any compensation for businesses that are within the area that's going to be closed off? I didn't hear any of that. I have never been contacted at all about this project from Caltrans or anybody else. I just learned about this on the news. Our property is at 1220 West Fremont Street, and so I'd like to understand and have more discussion about those subjects. Thank you.
Thank you.
I have no other cards.
What's that?
I have no other cards.
Okay, we'll move on then to my colleague. Did you have questions or comments?
Yes, thank you, Chair. Just a couple. One of the things that I've been hearing from the public comment has been the truck routes, and I mean, maybe this might be a bigger conversation just in general. I was always curious, I don't know if city staff has more history than I do, or maybe you, Chair, as to why Pershing Avenue is, if it's considered a truck route, why we have these big tankers, as to what one of my constituents, Dan Richardson, just shared, as to why we have these big trucks on Pershing. I don't know if anyone out there has the answer, whether it's staff or Caltrans, but I noticed that, I was telling you earlier today when we had the hoplite ceremonies, that when I was driving on the freeway on I-5, I think one of the freeway exits, I think it might be in your district, I think Benjamin Holt, it said no truck routes allowed, or maybe it said truck routes only, but one or the other. But then it made me think, well, why doesn't Pershing Avenue have that?
Thank you.
It just made me think, in general, the history of Stockton and the layout, and I ask because I don't know, I'm not an expert, but I ask in terms of what we can do to change that, and I don't know if anyone from staff, Chad, or Caltrans knows that as to why that's the only, not the only, but one of the off-ramps that doesn't have that, why we allow trucks on that street, which is residential. If anyone has an answer, please come to the podium. Someone has the answer.
I'm sorry, I missed that. Can you repeat the question?
And thank you, Jeff, for stepping up. And it was kind of on the spot, and I guess one of the things I want to learn, maybe the public that is watching too, is that why is it that we let trucks and these big tankers on Pershing Avenue, when I think one of the other freeway exits says specifically trucks are not allowed?
You know, I think that's just been something that was designated over time. And so that's why they're able to go on Pershing. It's an arterial street, so it's designated for it.
Okay, and I ask that because again, Pershing, for those that aren't familiar, it's crowned, right? So it has so much weight on it that the way when you look at it, it's literally curved. And when I think of March Lane, Benjamin Holt, Hammer Lane, 8 Mile, the road isn't that drastically visibly curved. So when it is residential, I guess my question is, why do we allow these big trucks on that street versus other streets that really are designed for it in terms of the weight?
So again, kind of going back, it's been that way over a period of time. It was designated a truck route at one time that just consistently has been that way. we haven't looked at
Can we change
redesigning
it, or is
that.
that more Caltrans, or what's the synergy in terms of changing something like that?
So the traffic studies that we have going on for Pershing Avenue, right, that would identify kind of potential hazards or other opportunities. I think we have that going on right now, right, as part of our kind of complete streets idea for the Pershing Avenue. So as that report gets through and the study gets done, it'll kind of highlight areas where possible improvements can be made.
And what would be the best appropriate committee or council meeting in terms of having an update on this? So whether it's this committee, ledge committee, council, in terms of, I know we had a Pershing Avenue diet study a couple of months ago to the council, but in terms of this question, what would be the appropriate group to address this first?
We could come back to this committee and report out. I think it's probably not at the council committee level, right, or a council meeting level, especially when you look at, like overall funding. I think is kind of one of our biggest concerns. But the report itself, when it comes out, we can definitely come back to the committee and share it.
That'd be helpful, especially the one, folks that have been asking about this. I mean, I'm curious too, because again, when I was on the freeway, I want to say it's Benjamin Holt, they had that specific sign attached to it before the exit, and I was curious as to why Pershing doesn't have that, and I'm sure many other people think of that too. So, and in terms of that too, while you're up here, and maybe Dina, you might ask too, in terms of the alternative exits, in terms of detours, Park and Oak. I know we talked about this project that we have coming up. In terms of the timeline, will this impact the city project that we have going on when it comes to Park and Oak versus what Caltrans is working on with this overall long-term project?
Our Oak and Park project will happen a lot sooner than this project will happen, so the impact shouldn't intersect with each other. You're welcome.
And I know it was on the spot, so I appreciate you just coming up.
No worries.
Yeah, thank you, Chad. I have a couple questions for Dina. So it does seem like, we have a fair amount of people that showed up, and I do thank the community for showing up. I know this is going to impact a lot of the people and businesses and residents in that area. What is your outreach strategy? I'm glad they came here and could hear your presentation. What is the opportunity they'll have? Because it seems like a fair amount of them had questions directly for you. I assume they can catch us all the way after this meeting, but do you plan to have more meetings? I know you had one at the Hagen.
We've had multiples at the Hagen, not just one.
Okay, so
one most recent, yes, there was one most recent, but we did have one also previous year to that. We've had multiple at the Chamber of Commerce to reach out to the business community, and they were fantastic in helping it because they know the businesses a lot better than we do. I did have one with the Port of Stockton, so we reached out to the port. We've had multiple meetings with city staff, certainly about how it impacts the city and how it is that we're going to certainly be able to acquire some of the encroachment permits and closures and whatnot moving forward. We've had multiple meetings with the folks that we were acquiring right-of-way from. So if it was a temporary construction easement, we certainly reached out to them or gave them the opportunity to come and ask questions as need be. I think we've done that at least a couple of times. We are hoping to be able to provide an update before the city council itself, right? This was sort of like an interim opportunity to sort of do that. So we've tried to, we've reached out to trucking associations, emergency response.
But I really want to thank our friends from Caltrans and is it Kiewit? Yeah, I want to thank you for the presentation. I thought this was a lot of really good information. Like Dominic, I really like these kind of things. It's really interesting to see what's coming. And I feel like big construction projects like this, they are a pain. I mean, it is a disruption. But we are so, I think, lucky to have Caltrans investing in our infrastructure right here in Stockton. We know that throughout the nation, there's a lot of crumbling infrastructure. We've seen, examples in other areas of the country of bridges collapsing and that sort of thing. And I'm just thrilled that we're going to fix this very vital bridge that we have, and we're getting something brand new. So, again, 10 years is a long time. Hopefully they can get it going a little quicker, but realistically, it's probably going to be 10 years. But I am excited. I also want to take the opportunity to recognize the Aesthetics Advisory Committee. Now, I think we have at least a couple of you. So everybody could you stand up if you're on that committee? I think it's a committee.
Yeah,
Let's recognize them. I appreciate you taking your time out and giving your input. You're the people that live there. It's the citizens that we do all this for. So your input is vital and very much appreciated.
Thank you.
And then I just want to wrap up my comments by welcoming Councilmember Enriquez on board as a full member. Give him a round of applause. And I will say he was the alternate member, and it already felt like he was a member because he's filled in so many times. So thank you for that. And with that, we are adjourned.